That is why I didn't say your name, but I would like to, and I would like you to say hello to me. So say hi in the chat box. This is a conversation. It's not a lecture, even though I'm monopolizing the conversation. I'm giving over to you with Hashem's loving help, but really it's all of us together. I'm going to take a moment to breathe and ask Hashem for his highest healing, mercy, clarity, and insight for the beautiful, precious women that are here, the unbelievably gorgeous neshamas that he has brought together today. Thank you, Hashem, for this moment and for all that you have planned for us. We're so grateful to you. And I want to thank Adina Chrysler. I don't know if you guys know Adina. Watch, I'm going to say hi to her. I'm going to pin her video. Tell me if you see it when I pin it. There she is. Hi, beautiful girl. Adina, hi. Thank you so much for organizing this. It's so important. And actually, I am going to have you open up this class. So, yeah, look, you had the vision. Okay. So this is yours.
I wasn't expecting this, but I've been through my own journey recently. I guess we're all dating. We all know what it's like. And I guess I was searching and I reached a point of burnout, shall I say, and a bit of a, I guess I really felt I needed guidance. So I didn't know who to speak to call on. And I reached out to Rivka, Malka and her amazing husband. And I felt they were really able to offer me, I guess, the right kinds of guidance, just what I needed to hear in that moment. And I felt, why not share this with everyone? And I guess elevate my pain to a certain extent and be able to inspire others to feel their best during the process.
So that's it. You did it. You didn't know that 100 people were going to come. You're like, I don't know. No. No, this is just the beginning. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh, you're so amazing. Hashem bless you.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. You know, Adina, do you know why I start my classes by saying everyone's name? It goes back to when I was 4 years old, watching a show called Romper Room. And in this little kindergarten show, the woman, she was like a nursery school teacher, she would say, and there's Jessica in my magic mirror and Daniel, and she would name all these children's names. I see Brad. And I'm like, when is she going to say Rivka Malka? She's not saying my name. And I felt like, what about me? Does she even know that I'm here? This was like this little child's question. But I don't, the things that we remember because they're important. So there's a little child in all of us that wants to know, like, hey, do you know that I'm here? So, yeah, I know you're here. That's why I like to say your names. But if I ever forget or miss your name, just put it in the chat box and say hi to me. I love that too. Also, that is what pain can do for us. It makes us sensitive to other people's pains. So I'm gonna close my eyes for a minute just to tune in and be with you all. In this space of being unmarried, there are many things that are different from one life to the next. You may be 25 and been dating since you're 18 and feel like, my gosh, when's it going to happen? It's been like so long. It's been 7 years. You may be 40 and dating since you're 20, thinking like, when's it going to happen? It's been 20 years. You may be divorced and thinking, is it ever going to happen for me again? I don't even know. Is that even possible? There's no one experience of singlehood. Every person's pain is very specific to their situation. And is custom designed by Hashem, by God for them, but also deserves the honor that no two people are alike. We cannot just take a bunch of single girls and say, this is the single girl experience, and, you know, this is what it is. No. Actually, sometimes you're single and you're scared to get married at this point. You just don't even know if it's for you. So it's as we come into this conversation, we need to come into it at the root, because when we get into the branches, there's many differences in our situations. So when we're going to talk about, and I say we, not in like the royal we, I say we because my heart is with you. My heart is with you. And even if that is not the space that Hashem put me, and I thank Hashem for my beautiful husband, that doesn't take away that my heart is beating with yours. So please allow me to say we, and please forgive me for saying we when it's really your experience of pain, or of struggle, I should say. So like I was saying, we don't want to touch this topic at the level of how do we navigate what's called the shidduch system, the matchmaking system. How do we navigate, like, you know, feeling like we don't make the grade enough for like different guys? How do we navigate whatever, all these kinds of like technical, cultural, societal spaces that we find ourselves in, because they're different for everyone. One person's gonna meet a guy at a Shabbos table or on a website, and or, you know, at some class, and for someone else it's a very formal process. So we're not going to talk about it at that level. We're going to come down the branches to the trunk of the tree, to the root of the tree. What's at the root? At the root is you. You are the root, not the guy, not the awful discussions you've had to have about being single, not the disgusting, disgraceful questions that have been asked to you, not the embarrassing moments where people just assume things about you that are completely not true, not even the lonely moments where it seems like this whole world is designed only for people who have spouses, and like, what about everybody else? What about them? Like, come on. All of those experiences, Hashem counts every single one of them. Not one tear escapes him. Not one tweak of the heart. Not one kvetch. Not one sigh. Not one constriction. When you look over at your friend and she just has this like beautiful new diamond that she's proud to wear, and you're so happy for her, and your heart cannot help but constricting, because you are a human being. And this is how Hashem makes us to feel things. None of that escapes Hashem. And all of those circumstances are important only because you're important. They're not important because we're going to fix the world this second and fix the system and make people more sensitive. I wish we could do that. I wish. And particularly in the vulnerability of being single. What is deserved to a woman is more honor, more sensitivity, more kindness, not less. The experience that anyone has had of being treated less, or feeling marginalized, or feeling like, just like, well, you know, you're not married with kids, so you don't even like, you know, that's just disgraceful. It's just disgraceful, and it's sad. And may Hashem bring a complete healing to anyone who has ever treated someone in a shidduch system with anything less than the highest love and respect. And may Hashem bring a complete healing to anyone who has had an experience of anything less than the highest love and respect, because it is not acceptable. It's not acceptable to Hashem's eyes. We don't treat each other with kavod and with love. Yeah, I could fix Yeah. Someone just asked me to let people in. Yes. So all of those things are at the societal level, and we're going to go to where it matters to today, where we can work, where we can grow, change, and fix. That is the root. That is you. You are your thoughts, your realities, your ideas, and your paradigms. And life is what we tell ourselves that it is. For example, there's 100 people on our class today, and I can, let's say I'm used to speaking to 10,000 people. Then life will be, oh, I have such a tiny little class. Let's say I'm used to speaking to 2 people. I say, whoa, I have such a big class. Is the class big or is it little? It all depends on my brain. My brain informs me of my reality. And there are a few like parts of our brain that are broken. They've been hurt so badly that they no longer know the truth. So our goal in these classes is to bring ourselves back to the truth of life, the truth of who we are. And when we find that place, that very special sweet spot inside our hearts, we can open up to a new experience, not just of singlehood, but of life. Okay. Let's look at some of our broken ideas. Here's one. I'm waiting to get married. I'm waiting to find my bashert. That's a broken idea, my friends. Life is not waiting, life is living. I don't know about you, but I hate waiting. If there is a long line at Dunkin' Donuts, I don't even care about my donut. I don't stand there. Waiting is impossible. Waiting is so hard. Waiting makes me feel powerless. Like I just have to wait. And it's like, I'm 25, I still have to stay on my diet because I still want to, like, I'm waiting to get a guy. Like I'm in this space, like I need to, that's just like another crazy broken thing. Like I need to keep the figure to get the guy. Like it's another broken one we'll talk about. This whole idea of I'm waiting to get married, we don't realize how insidious it is, how like deeply in our psyche it lives, like a Disney princess story. She grew up, she got married, she had children. That's the story. So if the story isn't proceeding, then I'm waiting for the next chapter of the story, am I not? That's not Hashem's story. That's not the godly story. It's a Disney story. What's the real story? The real story is that every moment in life is living. The Lubavitch Rebbe talks about how why does it talk about in the Torah about the places that the Jews in the desert traveled and the places that they camped? Because both are life, both are important. Sometimes we're traveling full speed ahead, sometimes we're camping out. It's good to camp out, breathe in the fresh air, enjoy ourselves, look at the night sky. If I spent all my time camping, waiting to travel again, would not be very fun. Yeah. So we think sometimes like, I'm waiting to get married. This is terrible. This is like the worst, most destructive, awful thing we could think. Because what it's telling ourselves is, I am not a person worthy of love, self-care, fun, beauty, friendship, intimacy, touch until I get married. At that point, life will get good. Until then, I am just, hanging out, waiting, powerless over a system or over a God that like controls things that are beyond me. And it's not just about our worthiness, it's also about our value. I am not fully valuable until I, oh, I see. So we're going to take a pause here because we are, Bezalel, our computer is maxing out at 99 people, but there's more people who want to come. So just 1 minute, please, and we are going to fix that. See what you started, Adina? Okay, we are back. So we understand this point, but do we believe it? Do we really believe it? It's hard to believe. It's hard to believe because there's a dual reality going on. There's one part of us that is waiting. It is longing for completion. That is made to be in a union. There just is. That's where we shine, brighten. The love in our hearts wants to be like given and shared. It's true that it's true. And then the other part is also true. That life is happening right now. So people don't like to live with dual realities, but that's what it means to be an adult, to be sophisticated, is to know that both things are true at the same time. That's maturity. Both things are true. Not to say anyone's immature. I'm just saying it really takes maturity to know that both things are true at the same time. I want this so badly. I can't wait for life to like take on that gorgeous color. And also, life is happening right now. What am I going to do in this space? So that's our first question to you. First question to you is, what would you be doing if life was happening now? If you were not waiting, if this was it? We don't know what tomorrow brings. Tomorrow, like, could be Mashiach, could be I don't know what could happen tomorrow. So, but we have today. If you weren't waiting, if you were living, then please share, what would you be doing? And put it in the chat box. If you don't feel comfortable, you can certainly write it by yourself somewhere. But I would love if you could share what you would be doing if you weren't waiting. And I'm just looking at the chat box to see. Yes, Amy says, I'm finally getting my degree at 40 years old because I gave myself up in search of love. That was very brave of you to write, Amy. Sometimes we could be waiting, even like to believe in ourselves, that we are worth getting that degree, that there's something that delights us about that education, having nothing to do with the man. Nope. Someone says going back to school. Someone says running futurecolors.org. Yes, life does not begin when we get married. Life began when we were born. Someone says I would be making a healing space in the mountains for women to start their emotional healing work. Yeah, Leah says, I identify with that. There were those that talked me out of continuing further education because no man would wait for me to finish. Ouch, ouch, ouch. Ouch, ouch, ouch. So there are big goals, and then there are little goals. Let me just read this. Marisol says, learning emotional intelligence. Could one say that living life as fully as possible outside of waiting for your special human makes you easiest for them to find? Yes, you are ahead of the game, Marisol. We're going to get to that. That is, yes, you are right there on track. So the first thing is, there are big goals and then there are little goals, okay? For me, my little goal right now is to stay in a good mood. That's actually my daily goal. I'm a naturally moody, sensitive person. And after years, then I kind of outgrew that. I became like, feeling good in life. Then I started my healing journey. So healing journey means now I'm going back to all my childhood stuff. So I could like burst out into tears over whatever. So I did that for a while. And now my new avoda right now is to say, you know what? I'm willing to be happy, to be healed, to not look towards the pain. I realized that looking towards the pain is an addiction, an actual addiction, like the tongue that goes to the hurting tooth. It's an addiction. What is an addiction? Well, it's many things, and I'm not going to be the expert on addiction, but let's just say this. One of the ways that addictive thinking works is that there is a grooved pathway in your brain where the neurons fire again and again and again. And so as soon as like a hint of a thought comes, boom, the neurons the neurons fire, And they travel down that highway, giving you the same painful thought. You understand? So it's like a cycle of suffering and pain. So my daily goal, not the big goal, I'm not waiting for anything to change in my life. I'm not waiting to win the lottery to be happy. I'm not waiting for every family dynamic I ever had to be happy. I am saying I'm willing to be happy now, today. That's cool for me. I don't know what your daily goal is. Maybe it's getting in shape. Maybe it's making friends. Maybe you feel like only married people have friends. I'm pretty isolated, right? There's not really any room for me. Well, maybe not. Maybe it's not so good to wait. Maybe you can live right now. So thanks for all who are chatting in the chat box, by the way. I love when people chat in the chat box because the nature of these things is that I am talking about a lot of things and you have thoughts and put them in the chat box. And this is the first thing. Now, someone is writing to me that they already do this, and that is they already live like a robust life. So that is so amazing. And we're going to keep talking because there's so much to learn over here, so much to uncover. Okay? So first thing is pursue your dreams, be the dream. Sometimes, especially if we're living a very religious life, it can be very stifling to the spirit, because a very religious communal life really is like geared towards family and community. I remember this friend who was single, she became a puppeteer. And I remember thinking like, whoa, like she became a puppeteer. Who becomes a puppet? Yeah, why not become a puppeteer? Why not like follow your bliss? But there's not very much in like more insular communal life that is around the conversation that supports the adventures and the dreams and the desires that a person has, because it is just, it's more centered around family life. And you don't want to like take up skydiving or scuba diving like when you have small children. It's just not the conversation, but it is a conversation that a person should have with themselves. I remember a couple who didn't have children for 3 years, and they were hoping for children every year. And at the end, they said they did have a little girl, and they said those were our best 3 years. We traveled everywhere. And I know you might be thinking, yeah, if I had someone to travel with, I would love that too. But the point is that they did not spend those 3 years only in anxiety. They lived. What dreams do you have that you want to follow that maybe nobody gets? Maybe nobody's talking about it. Doesn't matter. You're worth it. We cannot account for the vision of others. Sometimes we can be around people whose vision is narrow, or at least we don't even have to judge it as narrow. They can't see what we see. They're not us. But when Hashem gives you a yearning or a desire in your heart, a kosher one, it's halachically acceptable, that's a yearning you're invited to follow. You're invited to follow it. So that is the first thing. We're just going to open up that space to breathe a little more expansively beyond the narrow confines of singlehood, in particular religious singlehood, which has so little room to be like a full human being. It has so little room. And it's not Hashem's fault. He's got all the room in the world. It's just how it comes down. Start thinking about like, how can I open? Now, someone here is saying, what about balancing dreams that could be very time and energy consuming and the need to have space for dating and building a relationship? Yes, Yelena, that is one of the big reasons, and I love these questions because they help my conversation here. That is one of the big reasons why people don't get into big dreams. They're like, but I'm going to get married. I can't start this. I can't invest in this. Where is our belief in Hashem? Hashem's the one who said, you're so awesome, go and do this. And you're like, but Hashem, maybe a man can't handle it. Sweetheart, Hashem, who's here with you now, will be there with you then. He'll help you to redirect. Maybe all you needed was 2 years of school, because maybe you're going to go in a different path. Or maybe he's like, I find that so attractive. Oh my gosh, your brains are just like the greatest thing in the world. I want you to finish this education. I will cook dinner. Like, how do you know? So much of our worries and fears are founded on not understanding how much Hashem is rooting for us. He wants us to be happy, to enjoy life. Now, I know that there is like a misery. I'm just going to call it a misery, because it is miserable to not be united with your soulmate. Hashem created this misery. It's not your fault. It's a longing, a yearning, and a desire to be fulfilled. So how am I saying that Hashem wants us to be happy? Do you hear the question? Here I am, Hashem. I'm trying to build a relationship with you, God. I'm trying to trust you. I'm trying to sink into your arms of love. But you are the very same one who also gave me this most excruciating situation. So how do I navigate that? How do I know how to feel? Like, it's a reality that I'm lonely, or it's a reality that I want a man, and it's a healthy reality. And you, Hashem, you're the one who gave this to me. So says Hashem, I'm so sorry for how this experience hurts you. I'm so sorry for every cry and pain and self-doubt that you feel. I'm with you in it. It tears me apart. I'm Hashem. I feel it like this big. It hurts me. And I'm leading you through this because I know who you are. I made you. I planned an incredible journey for you. Everyone's journey is different. And in your journey, you're in the middle of gathering ingredients for your own mission, your own glory of Hashem. And it's not easy. It's not easy, this mission. No missions are easy. Sometimes someone can get married. Someone asked me to let people in. If I let people in, it might kick people out. I'm not sure what to do because it's not letting us go over 100. Let me just see if I can fix that. 1 second. No, I can't. Yeah, do you know how to fix it? You gotta love Zoom. When it seems that we're at the part of our life that we're not getting, so to speak, what we want, we are on our way to getting what we want. Okay? I'll give you 2 examples. One, I always think of, well, 3 I always think of. This is life stuff that we take in our life, okay? One, I say, I am the hero in a fabulous story. And a good story has conflict, intrigue, romance, a bad guy, antagonist, protagonist, it has it all. And right now, I'm on this page. Maybe it's page 30, and I'm on this chapter. And there's going to be another chapter. It's going to get better. If I just say, here's a story, and she lived happily ever after, it's not a good story. What came before it? Who is she? How did she battle? Who did she become? What's her awesomeness? What resources does she have? What strengths does she have? What is her beauty? What did she have to battle? What did she accomplish? What trail did she blaze? Like, happily ever after is I want to know, like, where's the juicy part of the story? That's one of the chief criticisms of like very religious fiction is like there's barely a plot because you're so scared to talk about the bad stuff or the romantic longings of the heart, you know, wanting to have a man in your life. All this, it's like flat. And you're like, why can't there be any good books? Because if we're not, there are good books, by the way, but if we are not willing to talk about this stuff, then about like the grittiness of life, about all the different chapters, then there's really no story. So sometimes I tell myself, Rivka, Malka, this is just this page of the story. It's part of it. And you are the hero. I am the hero of this story. And look how I've grown. Look how I've changed. Look who I've become. Look who I have become. Now, someone says, does Hashem value the creation of good stories? Hashem is the ultimate author. He is the greatest author in the world. He starts out his story, Bereshis bara Elokim, in the beginning. He's the ultimate author. And you, my friend, are the ultimate heroine. You're not flat, you're not plastic, you're not a Barbie doll. You're a real person. And there's so much to you. And at different stages of life, we are gathering these ingredients to become who we're meant to be. Hashem loves it when we recognize this. Did you ever have someone who thinks badly about you and you're like trying to do them a favor and they're like, you're only doing this because you feel bad for me? Or they just like, they're trying to do you something nice and you're triggered by it, you know? Like I cleaned one of my sister's houses. I thought I was doing her a favor. She's like, Riff, I can't believe you cleaned up. I feel so like, you know, judged. Oh my God, I was doing you a favor. It was like, 6 a.m. I had time. I thought you'd wake up to a surprise. It triggered her. She felt judged. It doesn't feel good. Hashem feels like delighted when we recognize this is love for you. This is love for you. I'm in it with you. We're traveling together. And it's part of a really good story. Please have mercy in your judgment of me as I have mercy on you. Someone says, what if we don't like who we have become? Well, we can work on liking who we have become because we are fabulous. There's nobody here, not one single person that doesn't wake up every single day and try their hardest to do life. Not one. There are no bad people. Every day you get up and you try your hardest to be kind, to be nice, to be helpful, to be honest. Sometimes your physical or emotional pain is overwhelming and you cannot be the person that you want to be. That does not make you any less of a person. Hashem does not love you less when you are not performing. As a matter of fact, it's Hashem himself who put you in a situation that would require a tremendous amount of physical and emotional self-care. This is the way I understand it, and take it or leave it. The way I understand it is that when a person gets married, there are 3 partners to the marriage: Hashem, the husband, and the wife. This are Torah sources it's written about. So my logic tells me, if a woman is not married to a man, who is she married to? To Hashem. To Hashem. How does Hashem want his woman to be treated? With beautiful clothing, with beautiful skincare, with fun, with adventures. Do you know what is the greatest delight of a man? To make his wife happy, to make her smile. That's his delight. That's it. That's like the highest. He can make her happy. He's like, success, yes. Hashem wants to make you happy. But if you're committed to, I'm not supposed to be in this part of life, this is like, when's it all happening for me? When's it going to happen for me? You can't get happy. He can't make you happy. It's something that we have to be the agents of Hashem to do for ourselves. Now, someone says, Hashem does not love you any less when you are not performing. Yes, let's talk about that for a minute. When you are in the stage of what is called chinuch, chinuch, you see the world in black and white. And so you learn as a small child, do mitzvos, not averos. Do good deeds, not bad deeds. Thus you will be judged. And then you think of Hashem as the judge. Well, I don't know if you ever saw any judges on like talent shows, but they can be pretty harsh. It's like, yes, your voice is not quite ready. It's terrible to be judged all the time. And it's not the truth either. Hashem judges, meaning he sees and knows everything. He's assessing all the time. Not for 1 second is he going to drop you. He's not negligent in his observation of you for 1 second. You are the most fascinating, interesting, exotic creature to Hashem. He loves you with what's called an ahavas olam, an eternal love. Everything about you, physical, emotional, and spiritual. That's not called judge. There's an aspect of judgment that just keeps us in line, that we're like when we do averos, which is sins or negative actions, we cause a consequence in the universe that boomerangs back at us, right? If you suck all the air out of something, you're not going to be able to breathe. So don't do averos. Thank you very much. But it's this very young child's chinuch version of Hashem that we are being called on to release. Because in that chinuch version of Hashem, in the black and white child's version, all we see is Hashem. If I'm not married and she just got married, there must be something intrinsically more valuable about her, that things are going better for her. Now, maybe we don't say this out loud, but somewhere in there comes a little self-doubt. Maybe I'm less loved, less valuable, less of a tzaddikas. Maybe I need to work on myself more. I really need to work on myself. I think I'll take on more things to do, we say. I have to improve myself. From now on, I'm going to take on 2 this and 3 that, and every night and every. It's like, you are not good enough. This hurts Hashem. I'm sure of it. He's looking at his beautiful woman, and she's saying, you don't like me as I am. I'm not good enough for you. It is not the truth. What is the truth? The truth is that what Hashem longs for every single person, married or unmarried, at the root of the root, is that we have closeness with him. Do you think that once a person gets married, they feel great from then on? They do not. It's a whole nother work. It's a whole other work. Now you're not only like fighting with yourself or like battling with yourself, now you also have to work it in a relationship. I'm not saying it's not worth it, go for it, but it's all of life is work. You're in this stage of work, then there's that stage of work. In all the stages of work, what runs through is the root, that Hashem desires our closeness. And he will do whatever it takes to bring us close, each person depending on their particular soul mission. It's the bottom line. To Hashem, we are so perfect, we are so beloved, we are so beautiful, that he wants to shower on us the greatest goodness. Everybody knows that most people who win the lottery are dead or in debt a year later. Look it up, I'm not making this up. They weren't ready. Does that mean there's anything intrinsically wrong with them? No. But not ready is not ready. from Hashem's perspective, not ready means I know something about you that you don't know. I know something about your beauty, about how close you can be to me that you don't know. I'm going to continue to give you ingredients and experiences in your life until we come to intimacy, until we come to closeness. When there is performance, there is not intimacy. When there is performance, there is not intimacy. When we're very little children, we want to perform. We want to perform for the adults. We think like, this is what will make my mother love me. A mother's love is a mother's love. Sometimes there's dysfunctional families and love is conditional, not unconditional. We get all confused. But in real intimacy, in really like knowing, I know you, you know me, I love you, you love me, I want you, you want me, I need you, you need me. One thing I ask of Hashem, I just want to sit in your house. I just want to be close to you. When it comes to real closeness with Hashem, performance is an inhibitor. Every time you say, Hashem, I'm not married, so I'll take on another thing, instead of coming closer to Hashem, who you are currently married, I'm putting it in quotes because I don't want to be disrespectful in any way, but who's your current source of kindness, sustenance, protection, affection, etc. It's like slamming at the relationship, saying, I'm not good enough as I am. Now, if I do feel closeness with Hashem, then of course I can say, I feel so close to you. I want to improve myself and bring more delight to you. Revolva says that a person cannot work on themselves until they have a deep intrinsic understanding of their value. Otherwise, the work, the Musar work, is actually going to destroy them. Rabbeinu Yonah says the same thing. A person cannot actually do tshuva until they first understand who they are. When we take our pain and use it as an opportunity to beat ourselves up, we actually, it's very hard and sad, but we actually we destroy the gift of the pain. Okay, we destroy the purpose of the pain. Instead of the pain drawing us closer to Hashem, Hashem, ain't nobody out there who understands me. I'm coming to you. Every day we're having coffee together, me and you, Hashem, because you're the only one who gets it. My sisters are all married. My brothers are all married. Nobody gets it, but you do, Hashem. It's me and you and our cup of coffee. Draw me close. Hashem, make me feel beautiful. There's no man giving me any compliments. Do you know that a woman actually needs somebody to compliment her in order to acknowledge her own beauty? Now, there's no unbeautiful women. I believe it's the Gemara that says that were it not for poverty, there would be no unbeautifulness in the entire people. Poverty means there's an expression that a person can't truly care for themselves. There's so much beauty in a woman and her longing just to be told that. Hashem, could you fulfill that for me? Could you implant in me a feeling of being radiantly beautiful if you're not going to send me a specific person to tell me that, a specific male, right? There's just, Hashem is that one, and he's in this stage of life, he's asking, please be close to me. Please be natural with me. Please let me make you happy. Don't be miserable, please. I know that it hurts. Let's do this trip together. And when we understand this, we could stop hurting ourselves with our singlehood. It hurts enough to be alone. Do we have to also curtail fun activities, calling them secular because they happen to be fun, but are perfectly halachically acceptable? Do we have to curtail having parties with our friends or whatever other delight life has to offer, pursuing dreams, living? It's hard enough when our hearts feel just like from an automatic sense of feeling rejected. Like I didn't find him, so it feels rejecting, you know, it's just a feeling, but it's just how it feels. It's hard enough to feel that sense of rejection. Do we have to reject ourselves as well? Or can we find like some truth that says Hashem wants us to have awesomeness, love, wonderful experiences, and He is monitoring the situation. He is planting the ingredients for who you're meant to be. We're going to talk about that another time. He's planting the ingredients for who you're meant to be in every experience. He's not forgetting that what you want, what you wish for is like now, please. He's only not giving it now because the cake is still baking. You're a cake and you're still baking. And I'm just kind of reviewing here. The baking is not, let me like add on more things that I'm meant to do. The Torah tells us what to do. The baking comes from receiving more of Hashem's love. More of Hashem's love. And I don't know if this is a conversation for today because I want to answer these questions, but a huge part of the avoda, it's an avoda for every person. Nobody escapes this. Even I'm married 40 years. I learned this like 2 years ago. I'm not married 40 years. But right, is that the truth of our avoda, our service, our work is to learn to receive love, to relinquish our uptight self-judgment, controlling of life, and to let in love. And my friends, we have to do this work whether we're married or whether we're single. Hashem wants every one of His children to be surrounded by love. It's not that you're single so you'll get less love. No, you'll get more love because you have a bigger space in your heart for Him to fill. And maybe somebody who's married is like leaning a lot on their husband, and Hashem can cause has caused all kinds of, pains or this or that in order to draw them close to Him. Because when we learn to receive Hashem's love, and I know I'm jumping into another topic, I don't want to go there today, but that is the source of ultimate nourishment always, that can even ease the deepest loneliness. No, it sounds hard to believe, but it's the truth that there is a great love available for us now. We do not have to wait for love. We can choose love. I'm so hungry. I hope that my stomach is not growling on this video. Okay, I'm going to take a few minutes to read in the chat box. And please know that this is kind of like an opening session, which means that these are the ideas that are flowing out now. As you, I hope that you'll come back next time and next time. And what we're going to do then is we're going to ask you to please send emails to Adina with your questions. And we're going to expand our conversation based on your questions. Okay. How can we try to reframe multiple rejections as not a lack of value? How else can we think about it when it's so natural to feel inadequate? Thank you for the question. So the first thing is, I'm so sorry that you've had multiple rejections. I'm very, very sorry. And it hurts. It just hurts. How we translate it is another story, but the heart hurts when it's been rejected. It's just how it is. So, of course, you're going to take gentle care of yourself. Remember the rule. The deeper the pain, the more gentle you must be with yourself. Okay? This is the rule of life. Hashem sends you pain. He's telling you, okay, here's my instruction. Be gentle on yourself. It's enough that you have pain. Okay? Step one. Then we need to learn the rule. This is an absolute rule. Absolute, applicable, as far as I can see, in every part of life. Hopefully someone will find me a Torah source for this, like a particular pasuk. Rejection is protection. Rejection is protection. Not sometimes, every time. I'll tell you a story. My daughter had a dear friend. I mean, my daughter is a great friend, and she had a dear friend. And they were just great friends. One day her friend sent her a picture on her phone, and it was like, something funny, right? So my daughter showed it to us at the dinner table because it was funny. I don't remember what it was. Maybe she had like hair over her face and put her glasses on. And then some of my kids like sent the same funny picture back to this girl. Well, this girl got embarrassed and she got very upset. Why did you show my funny picture to the table? Right? She got so upset. And my daughter said, I'm so sorry. I'll delete it. I'm sorry. You're right. You're absolutely right. I shouldn't have shown you a picture. You're right. I'm deleting it. And her friend said, prove to me that you're deleting it. And she's like, I deleted it. Okay, I'll send you a screenshot. How could you do that? No, blah, blah, blah. I'm blocking you. End of friendship. Devastation. 1 minute we're friends. Next minute I make one mistake. It's over. This was very traumatic for my daughter. Talk about feeling rejected. And of course, all these little girls are part of a chevra, they're part of a little group. So now these other 3 girls are hanging out together and not her over what? Over an error in judgment. So she's been telling me, like, I keep thinking about this. I feel like such a loser, she tells me. I wish I was over this already. But I keep thinking, like, I wish I did it differently. And why does this still hurt me? And I don't want this to hurt me anymore, but it still does. And I want to get rid of this. And I feel so dumb that it's still sensitive. And I can't speed up the healing of the heart. And I can't speed up the healing of your heart, whoever wrote this. But I could tell you what I tell her. Rejection is protection. My darling, please look at this friend's relationship skills. If this wasn't going to happen now, it was going to happen a different time. That's how it is. And you're a person who invests deeply in relationship. Hashem did not want you to invest any more of your beautiful heart in someplace that wasn't ready to receive it. And, I had also, that's it. It's the truth. Hashem's not going to violate our hearts and have us like pour into something. Sometimes he does that for certain learning experiences. But when we get rejected, when we get the boot, I call it, I was given the boot. You're given the boot, that means Hashem is protecting you at the highest level. I personally had this experience. I feel like I could talk about it for hours. Things that happened to me in my life that were devastating. And I just clung to this rejection is protection idea and followed the thread with the pain. Trust me, I cried, but followed the thread all the way until I saw how it was protection. It takes time sometimes. Sometimes it does take time. So it really has nothing to do with you. Seriously, it has everything to do with you because Hashem is crazy about you. It's crazy about you. Now, you might ask another question. You might say rejection is protection, but Hashem, why so many times? Why so many times that I've been rejected again and again? So we have to look at 2 things. One is a question. And the question is, and this is not particular to you, I don't know you, but for all of us, it's a question in life. Are we placing ourselves into situations where we cannot be appreciated and therefore we are rejected? So I will give you a quick example of this. It's 4 o'clock though. Do we want to continue? Adina, this is on you, whatever you want.
It's more about if you have time, I guess.
I have time. I just don't want to keep people if they weren't meaning to stay. But you know what? Yeah, it's okay.
If anyone wants to leave, then maybe they can just sign out, and whoever wants questions answered or can hang on for a bit.
Okay, that's good. We'll go a little bit longer. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
So, since I did tell that personal story about my daughter, I just want to take the opportunity to say there are no bad little girls. Even the little girl who didn't have that particular relationship skill. There's no judgment on her. Certainly I feel bad for my daughter's pain, but certainly she's also an innocent little girl and she's learning her way. I was mean to plenty of people when I was that age. So we learn. So she'll learn. She doesn't know how much it hurts. So Hashem should heal her as well. And my daughter. So okay, so there's a question that we want to ask ourselves. Are we putting ourselves in spaces that we cannot be appreciated? Sometimes we're seeking a certain type of validation. I want to be considered something. I'll give you a little example. I used to run a curative organization, and there's on Facebook actually there is a curative women's Facebook group. So like all curative leaders, curative is outreach. So after I stopped doing this outreach organization, I moved into the healing work. And I was very excited about coaching. I was so excited. I'm like, if people who were in leadership had coaching skills, oh my gosh, the conversations would be so much better. So I started posting on that group about my coaching. And it was like no response, like literally no response. And I was early on, so I was kind of feeling bad, why isn't anyone responding? And like slowly I started to see, hang on, you know what? This is not the space for this. It's not that I'm personally being rejected. Why are all these fabulous conversations happening, but not about what I'm putting out when I know it's so good? It's not personal. I'm on a different vibration right now. And I had to ask myself, what is it about me that has assigned this group of women the power to validate my worth? And again, it's not personal. It was kind of like the cure of leaders, because I was very like outreach oriented. So I'm like, I'm that. How could I, I was sorting myself out. Now I'm a coach. What does that mean? So it's like, when you're looking at multiple rejections, could it be that you're going to the wrong source to find acceptance? Could it be that there's a little bit more work for you to do to really get to know who you are? So that now when you're like getting set up with guys, they're more like the right kind of guys for you. Or you're speaking to Sharkhanim, you speak to Sharkhanim who can get you, which sometimes is none of them or very few of them. That's okay. Be selective. Don't go metaphorically posting all your information everywhere. It's not nice for yourself. It doesn't feel good. It's not valuing yourself. It's not honoring yourself. Don't go out with every guy just because they exist and wear pants. Please don't, because then you feel rejected at the end when really you should have been doing the rejecting, right? And the crazy voice that says, but I should probably date him because there's like one good thing about him or two good things and maybe, no, don't do that. You're a prize. Slow down. It's okay. You don't need the validation of I go out on dates. Hashem has not forgotten about you for 1 second. And you never need to cheapen yourself. Never, ever, ever, ever. And we combat this feeling of inadequacy by taking stock of who we are. Our victories, our accomplishments, our lovability, by surrounding ourselves with people who love us, if we have those available, and by reaching up for Hashem's love, because it will always be reflected back. Rachel says, a woman does not need anyone else to recognize her own beauty. It is called self-respect and self-confidence, or am I confused? So Rachel, I don't know what part of the journey you are in, but what I have found is that a woman can know of her own beauty, and by knowing, I mean emotionally and spiritually, and in the eyes of Hashem, know her own beauty. And she must do that work, and hopefully we'll get to talk about what that work looks like. And yet there is a component when that is recognized by a male. It's just the truth. It's how Hashem did it. So there it is. Someone says, I'm done having parties and delights. People say, go get a manicure, treat yourself. I feel like I've had enough manicures and self-care. I want to be too tired from having children to get a manicure. Oh, totally. It's like Thank you. Thank you for all the feel good. Let me be tired for a good reason. Absolutely. And what a prayer it is. And sometimes the best self-care that we could do is to say, I'm so tired of being in self-care. I'm so tired of like doing all the right things to keep myself propped up. You know what? I feel gross. I feel tired of the battle. Now I'm going to surrender into Hashem's arms and let him do the fight for me. It's a different part of our avoda. But yeah, sometimes it's like, it gets painful to like sit there with the manicure. You're like, the nails are not doing it. I'm longing to build a life. Hashem, I'm longing, I'm yearning. Sometimes even in those spaces, the best, most deepest prayers come out. The best, most deepest prayers. It's like those moments, they strip away another level of our performance into more naturalness with Hashem. Like, really love this manicure, Hashem. But please, could you look at me? Look at me like I want children. Yes. Leah says we accept the love we think we deserve. Absolutely. Absolutely. The more you love yourself, the sweeter your marriage will be. I'm reading these comments. My computer is new and confusing. No, doesn't want to do that. Let's see. How do we get the recording after class? I'll send it out by this email. And now Leah Goldman is giving a lot of good chizuk. Leah Goldman runs something called futurecolors.org. It's in the chat box. And I believe that it is women davening, praying for each other to find their loved one. And there is no other more powerful tool than to pray for someone, to daven for someone, and to have them daven to you. It's so elevated. It's coming out of your pain for somebody else. It's so high. It's so high. It's so incredible. Actually, I give a weekly class on Wednesdays, and the whole weekly class was based on that. It took a little digression, but it was based on the power of davening for each other. Of course, first we have to learn that Hashem loves us, then we have to learn how to daven, and then we can daven for each other. So this class has been a little while till we're getting into that, but please join Future College. Get on the list, absolutely. Adina will get your messages. Amy says, Hashem, just make the bad choices of men go away. I'll take that rejection. It's just weeding them out. Okay. Now, someone says something brilliant. Thank you for sharing your wisdom. She says, rejection is protection and projection. Woo! What is projection? Here's a secret. I say it's a secret because I only just discovered it in its reality like very recently. I always thought like I could figure people out. I finally figured out that I can't figure people out. You cannot know what happens inside somebody else's heart. It's a secret. It's a private space between them and God. Only Hashem knows. But we're always trying to make meaning. We're trying to sort out life. So we think, I know what he's thinking. I know what they're thinking about me. We think these things. But actually, every one of those thoughts, since we cannot know what they're thinking, we literally cannot know, is a projection of our fear, our story about ourselves. So yes, not only is the rejection, that the not getting what you want, a protection from Hashem, embedded in the pain of that is also what you're telling yourself about the rejection, which is this painful story that you have about yourself that has nothing to do with the other person. It's projecting onto them. You really can't know. You cannot know. I remember one of my sisters, God bless her. I always have stories about sisters because I have 4 of them. Well, she could not, maybe now she could not understand how I wear a tichel. She's like very generous and sweet and amazing. And she's like, doesn't he like want you to wear a wig, a sheitel? Like, don't you want to do that like just for him? Like, even if you're being more tznius, more modest, like what about just for him? I was like, I don't know. Sounds tempting. I mean, hair is beautiful. I don't know. So one day she gives me a wig, and like, oh, beautiful wig. And I was like, okay, maybe I'll try this. So, I put it on. I go downstairs. He doesn't say a word. So I never put it on again. It ended up really, really beautifully, actually. A friend of ours who was single for a long time, she got married to a guy who was widowed. And his wife, she had always been excited to wear tichels. And it turned out that his wife wore tichels, like she was known for her tichels. So her wearing tichels was a little bit triggering for him. So he really wanted a sheitel. And so when she was engaged and she came over to our house and she knocked on the door, I was like, wait, I have a sheitel for you. We put it on her head and it was like the perfect fit. It was a magical moment. What's my point? There is a point here. In this story, my sister, God bless her, had a projection. This is beauty. This is a man. This is what it is. There's no way she could like live into someone else's heart. You understand? We don't know. We think we know. We don't know. It's just our projection. So all the things that you're telling yourself about who you are in this shidduch scene, they're your projections. They're the pains of your heart. They're not the reality. They're you telling yourself, I'm too out of the box. I'm not enough. I'm too fat. It's just not true. It's just not true. So what do we want to do? We want to change our inside story so that our projections are not so painful. I am just right. Not just it's not that I'm not enough. I'm more than enough. I'm incredible. I'm not too out of the box. I'm a human being. There is no box. Thank God I'm colorful. Thank God I have the willingness to explore parts of life. And I'm too fat. I'm just the right size for just the right man. Hashem gave a person a body. Every body has beauty. It's Hashem's creation. So we want to change what happens on the inside so that we don't have to suffer from our projections. Okay, now it's 4:15, so I think now we're going to end, but I'm zipping down if I could. There's 26 messages, and I know they're saying awesome things. I know. Okay. Oh, look at this accumulated wisdom. There is accumulated wisdom here, and support, by the way. So what I'm going to do is we're going to end our class now, and I want to give you a minute, just 1 minute now, to do two things. Number one, if there's anyone who said something on the chat box that particularly was meaningful to you, please send them a private message. Right now, you know how to do that. You just click on their name, let them know that they've helped you, because this is a together time. We're all experiencing this. So if someone said something good, please let them know. Okay? Could just be 2 words. And if there's someone who said something that you feel like you want to pursue the conversation, go ahead and text them, get their email. The less isolation, the better. Okay. Now, the second thing we're going to do is I'm going to ask you to please each write in the chat box if possible. If not, you can write it in your own diary. 1 takeaway from today's class. The thing that you write down, you concretize, is the thing you're going to remember and live into. So please write it down. And if it's on the chat box, I will read it out loud. And if it's in your, but not with your name. Okay. Now, finally, I am very grateful for this opportunity to give the class, and I have 2 favors to ask you. One, if you would like to join a regular Wednesday class, every Wednesday at 2 o'clock, I give a class. It's more of a, it's not about shidduchim, it's not about being single, but it is about life. I want you to know that you have an invitation. Just send Adina, just put your email right here and Adina will gather it. Adina's just a copy and paste, please. And then the second thing is that if you want any redirect in this class or have anything you need, if this didn't like fit really well or any feedback, please feel comfortable to send it to Adina and she'll get it to me. Okay? Yeah, is that okay, Adina? I'm kind of giving you a lot of homework. Yes, she says, yeah, she's awesome. Okay, as far as I'm concerned, our classes together, these 3 classes, they are uncharted territory. I feel like that. I feel like it's a new world, it's a new year, it's a new light coming down. These gorgeous women here. We need Geula now, and you're bringing it through this intense avoda. And thank you. Okay. I'm looking back because I just see a few beautiful comments of takeaways. Read it. Can we make a group? Oh. Live your life, don't wait. Love this class. I took notes if anyone wants them. Thank you. That's amazing. Hashem, make me feel beautiful. A woman needs a man to compliment her to understand her beauty. You're welcome for doing this. Thank you. There's a WhatsApp group called From Single Gals Connect. If anyone wants, they could speak to Leah Goldman. If anyone is coming from different places, from means Jewish Orthodox, and to be Orthodox and single has all its own dynamics. So that's why it's a From group. And Lydia says, being single is actually a time for more gentleness, more love and more gentleness, and it's a place of vulnerability. That did change my perspective quite a bit. Oh, I'm so glad. You deserve love and gentleness, my dear. Hashem is our partner now and wants us treated well. Yes, Rivka, yes. And we have even more space for Hashem to fill with love. Yes, my dear. We're going to talk about that more. It's so huge. So huge. Yutinta really loved this class. It's time for me to live life. Please, Hashem, amen. A beautiful life. Hashem created this situation that we are in. He longs for that we have closeness with him at all stages. So many of our worries are rooted in misunderstanding how much Hashem is rooting for us. Yes, Hashem, do you hear? Do you hear? We're just not understanding you. Please reveal yourself. Reveal your love. Don't hide it away. Open up our hearts massively. We have to expand our willingness to receive Hashem's love in order for him to show it to us. You never know how strong you are until being strong is the only option. Keep going. I believe that all of us can change our situation, can live happy lives no matter the situation. Thank you, Leah. And finally, to the one who ends up by saying, I feel lost. I give a prayer for you and for all the women here, for any woman who's struggling or alone, any person who's struggling or alone. May Hashem hold you closely. May you feel Hashem holding you closely in this experience of lostness. May you have the courage to reach out for company in the experience of lostness. And may you be found. May you be found to yourself. And in being found to yourself, may you also find Hashem. You're so beautiful, so good, so precious. And all the experience of lostness reminds me of like the little bird in the book saying, are you my mother? Are you my mother? Like, who's gonna love me? Who's gonna take care of me? Who's gonna see me? That's the lost feeling. The found feeling is to know your mother's right here. She just went out to get some worms. She's coming back to feed you. And don't be worried. You're the most precious little bird ever. You're so precious. Okay. Goodbye, everyone. And thank you, Hashem. And thank you, Adina. And we'll see you again next week. I'm going to end the recording. If anyone wants to stand and have a conversation and unmute themselves, they are welcome to. If anyone is hearing this on recording, I'm going to give you some information right now. We're meeting again on Zoom, and watch right here because I'm going to tell you what the Zoom address, I'm sorry, what the Zoom ID is. I'm just getting confused. I'm like under pressure. So, oh, here it is. Okay. The Zoom ID for next week, in case you decide to join us, is 8612. 8624120. 8612-8624-120. Next week, October 28th at 3 p.m. Eastern. Okay, and then the following week. And I'll email this as well. Thanks for letting me do this. Thanks for letting me share this space with you. I really appreciate it. Thank you for your trust. Goodbye.
Thank you.